All right, there we go, and we are live. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Pastrami Nation. We are the meat of pop culture. My name is Nolan Smith. Joining me today, of course, we have fellow co-founder of Pastrami Nation, Jason Smith,
Hi, everybody. Thanks for tuning in.
and we have a very special guest today. We have the man behind Creative Beast Studios and the Beast of the Mesozoic line, Mr. David Silva.
Thank you.
Hey, how you doing? Thanks for having me.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely.
And before we jump into this, let me just go let everybody know what we're giving away today because we're always giving away things on Pastrami Nation. So first off, of course, as always, you can win a Pastrami Nation combo courtesy of Apollo Burger out in Victorville, California. Massive pastrami sandwich made with grilled cheese as buns. It has chili in there. It has jalapeno sauce. It's amazing. So if you haven't tried it yet and you're local, at least Southern California local, you definitely want to win this. But
Try
we
it on an
also
empty
have
stomach.
something. Well, yeah, it's massive. Jason and I and Christian went over there the other week, and whoo boy, yeah, that thing is a monster, but it's so good. Um, in honor of our special guest, though, we do have a giveaway linked right into the Beast of the Mesozoic line. So, Jason, I want to let him know what we're giving away.
Yeah, we're going to give away this really awesome glow in the dark Beast of the Mesozoic Zuniceratops, which is like a homage to the old school glow in the dark dinos that we had when we were kids. And just awesome that they do it in this colorway. So one lucky viewer will get that.
Right, and all you have to do is leave a comment.
That's really
That's
cool.
all. Yeah, and you get to enjoy this, enjoy that awesome Zuniceratops or the awesome Pastrami Nation sandwich. So just join the conversation. If you have questions for David as we're going, drop them in the chat. We'll make sure we bring them up. But let's go ahead and jump into the discussion. So, David, you currently have a Kickstarter going right now. Can you let everybody know about that Kickstarter?
Yeah, right now is the Beast of the Mesozoic Tyrannosaur series Kickstarter. We still have 8 days left, and the last day will be next Friday. We're currently, I'm not sure the exact total, but it's over 400,000 at this point, and we still have, I believe, 5 more figures that we could unlock, and the total number of figures could reach 22. So that's what we're going for.
Wow. And let me go ahead and I'm going to share the Kickstarter page right now. All right, so here we are on Kickstarter.
Wow.
You have Beast of the Mesozoic. This is the series. This is what it's at right now. It has been destroying the goals. And let me just go through here and feel free to add commentary as I'm going, David.
Yeah, just those are the Tyrannosaurus Rex figures right there. The juvenile and the adult. Um, yeah, the main campaign is for the Tyrannosaurus Rex, and then all the stretch goals are uh, the relatives of the tyrannosaurs, like different types of tyrannosaurs. And I guess we have postcards, we have a calendar. If there are people that don't want to commit to an action figure, we do have ways to get the artwork. There's signed prints as well. So
How could you not want that
we
right
have the
there?
goals.
I mean, take my money, please.
Yeah, yeah. That's the Walking with Dinosaurs homage.
It's just gorgeous.
That was a fan vote. Thanks.
This is
And
the
that's
one.
the
Oh,
the
this
Dino
is the
Riders
one that.
homage.
Oh, look at that thing.
Right. And these things are super impressive. Jason, you own some from every one of the lineup he's done. Tell us
Yeah.
about what you think about them.
Oh yeah. The articulation is just like David. You pretty much set the bar for dinosaur figures from here on out. I think like just from articulation to
Thanks.
paint and likeness. It's just like it blows it out the park. Like every, like, starting with the raptors, and then once you took the ceratopsians, it's just that took it to a whole new level. I mean, I can't wait for series 3 of those to come out, which that Xenoceratops you did is just gorgeous. Like, I love that paint scheme. That is my favorite one by far. Can't wait for that one to be in my collection. But
Oh, thank you.
if you're a dinosaur fan in general,
Great.
and you're looking for top quality articulated dinosaurs with the most realistic paint jobs I've ever seen, then look no further. I mean, David here has nailed it.
And you can see the stretch goals right there.
Look at
These
that.
and each one, as you see, as we're passing them, these are unlocked. Like
Look at
they
that
have
paint
been
job.
mowing through this.
Yeah, those are
Yeah,
unlocked. Yeah, I mean, yeah, and yeah, some of these I'm still working on finishing the prototypes for them. Obviously, they're not all finished yet, but they're all sculpted. I have all the parts here. Just some of them need to be painted. Some of the smaller ones I'm still finishing up. But yeah, I mean, it's all happening.
Now,
this is the
David,
next one right there. Oh, go ahead,
I
That
Jason.
one
saw
just
that
got
you. Oh, I saw that you were going to offer unpainted gray versions of the big T Rex and the
Mhm.
135 scale. Now, are those going to come fully
Mm-hmm.
assembled, or will it be like the Build-A-Raptor kit?
Yeah, those will be action figures. Uh, the thing about the Builder Raptors is they had a lot of interchangeable pieces because they shared so many parts with one another. So you had like all the heads fit the same body, and you could have different types of toe claws and things like that, and wing pieces. But with the T Rex, there's not anything sharing parts with the T Rex, so it's gonna have just one figure, and that's it.
Not bad. I
That's
already know
awesome.
I need 2 of those unpainted ones. I have to make the T Rexes from Primal Rage. I'm sure you're familiar with
Oh
Sauron
yeah,
and Diablo.
yep.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I'm
And
finally going to have good quality
yeah,
figures of them. I just got to paint them myself.
yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah. There's a lot of cool things that you could do with that. I mean, a lot of people have suggested Beast Wars Megatron. That
Ooh.
would be a cool thing to see too. I personally would have interest in seeing a Tyrannosaurus from Masters of the Universe.
Yes.
That's
The one that
that's
Skeletor
something.
rode. Oh, that
Yeah,
would be
that would
awesome.
be a fun one. Yeah, but I mean, I'm lucky to just have the Dino Riders version out there. As far as like 80s nostalgia goes. So that's a pretty cool thing.
Yes. That one. And you gave us a Dino Riders homage with the Centrosaurus from the
Hmm.
Ceratopsians, and that was just gorgeous. The Monoclonius.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks. Yeah. That was a lot of fun, and I got to work with Ezra Tucker on that, who did a very famous Dino Riders piece for the original box art. So that's
That
that's a
that's
pretty
awesome.
thing. Yeah, that's a pretty cool thing that I got to do. I'm a huge Dino Riders fan. I mean, I have a bunch of the old figures, and that to me, that's what got me really interested in dinosaurs when I was a kid. I know that a lot of the people that follow my line, their big hook was Jurassic Park, but by the time Jurassic Park came out, I feel like I was kind of into other things by that point. So I I was into it, but it wasn't like a big influence. I was already into dinosaurs by that time.
So they come
Well,
out
I
with
was
like
about to
a
ask that question too.
yeah, that is awesome. Well, I've
Now,
seen
I
some of
do want to
your
ask you.
oh,
Oh,
go
go ahead,
ahead,
Jason.
Nolan.
Mhm.
Oh, I was seeing some of your earlier works, and I own some of them now that I think, because the Seabic from the Spawn, the Egyptian line, the big
Oh
Crocodile
yeah,
King
the
guy,
Crocodile
that thing
King.
is
Yeah.
badass.
Yeah. That was a lot of fun to work on. I still have one of those figures, and that was back when we would do two upsized sculpts, where that the actual sculpts were 2 to 3 times bigger than the actual you know production figures.
Oh,
So
nice.
that was a really that was a really beefy sculpt. So that was a lot of fun to work on. That might have been the time that I really got into sculpting uh, reptile scales, if I remember, because that was early on when I started sculpting for McFarlane.
I'd say you've mastered that.
Yeah, I'm still trying. Always trying to find ways to improve that. But I do enjoy it. I know it looks tedious to some people, but to me, it's kind of my thing. So I I try to find time for it.
Very nice.
And you've done some work for NECA as well, right? Because I've seen your name
Hmm.
on some NECA packaging as well. What
Yeah,
pieces have you done with NECA?
yeah. Um, I tried to work on a lot of the creature type stuff for them. So the main pieces that I've worked on for NECA are the Predators, Pacific Rim, specifically the Kaiju, and the Godzilla figures that they were doing. So that those were the main things. I worked on a lot of other stuff too, but those were the main things that I worked on.
Very cool. I got quite a few of those in my collection as well. So that's awesome, man. So what made you want to get into creating toys, creating action figures? What was the driving force behind it?
Um, it, it was sort of a process. When I was a kid, like a lot of my generation, we had pretty much the best '80s toy experience. I mean, there was so much original content back then. There was so many original toy lines, and looking back at it, I feel like that was such a huge motivating factor for me wanting to do what I'm doing now. Uh, I got to a point in the '90s where I was really into comic books, and I decided that I wanted to be a comic book artist. And I just started gearing everything towards being a comic book artist. I went to art school and studied sequential art and also illustration. So I double majored, and um, for whatever reason, that experience led me to uh, realize I really just want to create concepts and characters and things like that, not necessarily uh, tell stories with pictures. So um, that that path kind of led me towards toy design. I ended up uh, putting together a portfolio for McFarlane Toys when I was in college, and they they contacted me a few weeks after I graduated about a design job, a freelance design job, and it just kind of took off from there. And I was always really into Transformers. That's kind of my favorite thing. And uh, luckily enough, the first design job I had for McFarlane Toys was transforming robots. They never got shown and it never came out. Nothing ever happened. But um, I was super excited. I mean, I was just out of school, and my first gig is with my favorite toy company designing transforming robots. So it definitely felt like I was moving in the right direction. It's
Very.
and then not long after that, I got to start designing dragons for them, and it just kind of kept going from there. So and eventually, I ended up moving to New Jersey, and I worked in house and became a sculptor for them, and that was my main job after a while.
Sounds like a good deal.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I've been pretty fortunate, and working there was a really good experience because I was, like I said, I was straight out of school, didn't really know anything about the industry. They don't teach you that stuff at the school that I went to. I mean, there was nothing for action figures and toys and things like that. It was geared towards other things. So it was really an education working there. There were experienced sculptors there already that I got to learn from. Uh, I got to learn how to sculpt in castelline, which was the preferred sculpting material at the time, and just basically had a crash course in you know sculpting action figures. And if I wasn't able to pull my weight, I would have had I would have been asked to leave for sure. So it was a good incentive to up my game for sure when I was there. So I definitely appreciate the experience.
That's awesome. That's really
Very.
cool. I didn't know you sculpted some of the McFarlane dragons. That's really cool. I remember having those. I had the one with the big feather wings, and that
Mm.
thing's amazing. I still have it. It's up in my closet right now. It's awesome. But
Yeah.
I used to love
that's
reading.
so
There
cool.
What was it? Prehistoric times. I'd see your name in there all the time. The Styracosaurus
Oh
model,
yeah.
the one that's running through the water.
Hmm.
That's like one of my favorite
Yeah.
things
Yeah.
ever.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah. Yeah. That was quite a while ago. It was probably like 2010, I think, 2009, 2010. That's around the time that I started Creative Beast Studio, and I was doing the model kits.
That just the pose on that is just so natural and flowing. It's like wow,
Hmm.
like you
Yeah.
really nailed it.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm really into dynamic posing. Like that's why I like action figures, is because you can put them in dynamic poses, and just it's just a lot of fun just to be able to move them around like that, and like just kind of tell a story with one image, one shot, and it's I would have always preferred to make my own action figures, but obviously that's not an easy thing to get into if you're doing it independently. So it took a while to get to that point. I never even expected to. When I started Creative Beast Studio, I thought it was just going to be model kits. Uh, that was what I was able to do to get my work out to people. I would go to various model kit shows and promote my work however I could, and try to build an audience with whatever I had to work with. And luckily, staying in the toy industry and working at NECA, I was able to get to a place where I could run my own Kickstarter and see if there was enough interest for action figures for what I was doing, and luckily there is.
Yes,
Absolutely.
there
And
is.
I see some questions in the chat. I'm going to go ahead and throw them at you. So, has 3D printing made your life easier?
Um, in some ways, I guess it depends on uh, the type of sculptors I'm working with. I'm working with two digital sculptors at the moment, Jake Bartsey and Raul Ramos, and digital printing is essential for that type of work for sure. Um, Traditional and digital both have their advantages and disadvantages, and I'm always trying to uh, just make it about the product and whatever serves the product best. So, in some ways it makes it easier. In some ways it can, add extra steps. It just depends on the perspective that you're taking with it. But I'm happy that it exists, and I think in a lot of ways it allows me to find more talent, because there's so many people doing digital sculpting now. So that's been helpful in that way.
Great. And then I have a question that from Noble that says, other than Transformers, what else would be your dream project or license to work on?
I am currently working on my dream project.
I'll see. That's
So
awesome.
Yes.
I no longer want to work on any licenses. I spent the first part of my career working on licensed product, and a lot of it I really was into. I really love Predator. I really love Pacific Rim, Star Wars. Uh, a lot of the stuff that I worked on, I was super into, and just really grateful for the opportunity. The dragons that I got to work on at McFarlane, that was a great experience. Um, but at this point, I feel like I've gained enough experience and enough resources through those processes that I need to take it to my own ideas and my own uh, you know products, and that's where I'm at right now. Like I wouldn't be happy at this point working on something that's already been designed. Basically, I want to be able to design it and create it.
Oh, that's great, man. Let's see. We got a few more questions that popped in. Have you ever created a piece you didn't like, but it still got approved?
Oh yeah, I'm sure that happened quite a bit. um, I wasn't super happy with the Pachyrhinosaurus that I did for Jurassic Park. That comes to mind. Uh, that I know a lot of people like that, but it's not how I wanted it to look. There was a lot of art directing involved there, and it wasn't really my call. So I did the best I could with it. But me doing my own Pachyrhinosaurus in the last, Ceratopsian series was really personal for me to be, it's sort of like correcting something that I feel like didn't go right the first time. So that was a very personal project. I'm very happy with the one that I did this past series. I'm sure there's probably other ones, but the thing about projects like that is they're easy to forget. So you just kind of move on if you're not happy with it, I think.
Right. All right, going down the list, what is your favorite figure?
My favorite figure that I've worked on, or favorite figure that I own?
Let's go with own.
Favorite figure that I own. See, I guess you'd have to. I guess nostalgia would play a part at that point. I'd probably have to go with the original Optimus Prime.
Nice.
So, yeah, I mean,
Classic.
it's kind of cliche, but that was one of those figures that, when you're a kid, you can't find it for forever, and eventually your dad finds it, and you're like, oh boy, I finally got it. It's like that. And then the one that I have is an original version from the 80s. It's not one of the reissues. So it's
Oh, how cool.
it's yeah, and it's one of the first things I ever bought off of eBay. Actually, it's probably from like '99 or something like that. So
Way back.
so yeah, I mean that. Yeah, way back. Yeah.
The one with the styrofoam tray in there.
Well, no, I don't have it in package, but it's
Oh,
complete.
nice.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That was one of the first things I bought off eBay. I was just a poor college student, and saving up my money, and bought a thing off of eBay from somebody in Australia, and I'm just so excited. It's like, oh man! And the weird thing was, when I got it, it's the first time I had seen it since I was a kid, and I couldn't believe how small it was. And I was thinking, I don't remember it being this small before. But you don't realize like everything seems big to you when you're a kid, and you get it, 15 years later, and it's like, hey, wait a minute, this used to be bigger, but no, I was smaller. So yeah, yeah. I mean, that's I have a lot of figures that I really love that I have in my collection. I try to be very picky about what I keep in my collection because I don't have like a storage unit for stuff that I can't put out in my displays. So if I don't have room for something, I have to purge things and just move on. So whatever I have out is stuff that I'm really into.
So, what is your favorite dino figure?
Like of what I've done so far.
Yes.
That's a tough one. I guess the Pachyrhinosaurus is up there, but I don't feel like I have a real favorite. I really like the original Velociraptor quite a bit too. I mean, that was a pretty important one for me. But that's like asking somebody who their favorite child is.
Right.
So it's kind of a tough question.
Exactly.
But if I have to answer, I would say either the Pachyrhinosaurus or the Velociraptor, one of those two.
Very nice. Now, any chance, David, of seeing like maybe Pachyrhinosaurus done in like the Triceratops colorway, like in the future? Would you
You mean like based on the
like
Triceratops that I already have?
Yeah, the Triceratops you did. Like, switch the color patterns?
No, I'd probably just come up with a different color pattern at that point. Just something original. I like to treat this as a world that could exist. So if I do different color patterns, I try to think about it in terms of, that color still can exist with the color that I've already put out for that figure before. Maybe it's a female version, or maybe it's a version of that species that maybe lived in a slightly different environment, different location. I try to make it a world, basically.
Very nice.
And yeah, so like if you see a color pattern on one dinosaur, you're not likely to see me share it with a different species, I don't think.
Keep it unique to that specific.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
awesome. So, what's the future hold for Beast of the Mesozoic after Tyrannosaurus? Um, have you given that any thoughts, or?
Um, yeah, yeah. I give it a lot of thought. Yeah, and I feel like at this point I need to start uh, diversifying the line a bit more. I don't really see there being a way to keep going with the 20 plus figures per series concept. As far as families go, I mean, it wouldn't be hard to do that with additional families like hadrosaurs or stegosaurs or sauropods, whatever. I mean, there's always tons of species to choose from, but there's a certain viability long term for the brand that I need to start thinking about diversifying more, because these family projects that I've been doing, they take a long time to develop, and they also take a lot of funding. So, that being said, it might be smarter to start thinking about like smaller series, like maybe if I did 4 to 5 hadrosaurs or 4 to 5 stegosaurs, something like that, instead of 20. That would probably fill out the line a bit better, and then I could do more things. Like, I'm very interested in doing certain dinosaurs. Allosaurus is one that I really want to do. The Kentrosaurus,
Yes.
and Dilophosaurus. I mean, there's quite a few. Acrocanthosaurus is another one that I would like to do. I mean, there's just a bunch. I could go on and on. But the thing is, they don't usually fall within the same family. So how am I going to get to all of them if I keep doing, 20 figures per family? It's going to take forever. So,
Right.
so at this point, I feel like we've kind of reached a peak with the Tyrannosaur line, and now it's time to sort of take a step in a different direction. And Cyberzoic is sort of a way to allow me to do that. And a lot of people, when I first announced it, were afraid it was replacing Beast of the Mesozoic, but it's not. It's simply going to be a way for me to share uh, the, the dinosaurs between the two toy lines. That way, I can justify the cost without having to do like 20 versions of a family species or whatever. Um,
Right.
so like for Tyrannosaur series, just as an example, I'm gonna put out Dryptosaurus, I'm gonna put out Eutyrannus, T-Rex, but I can also put those out in different color schemes for Cyberzoic, and then also design armor for them, and characters to ride in the armor and things like that. So you
Ooh.
you have 2 separate toy lines with 2 different looks, and you use the same dinosaurs for both. And the way that I see it is Beast of the Mesozoic is a precursor, a prequel, basically, to the world of Cyberzoic, because Cyberzoic is bringing dinosaurs back from a past that existed with Beast of the Mesozoic. So they're bringing them back. They look a little different, but only in color. And uh, so the worlds are still connected, but one's fiction and one is only sort of fiction. so
That's brilliant.
so
I can't
yeah.
wait for that.
So yeah, when will we be able to hear more about the Cyberzoic? Because that sounds really cool. And I see the comments. People are like, "Yeah, he had me at armor." When will we be able to find out more about that?
Yeah, I have a lot to say about it, and I have a lot to show for it. We're in very early stages right now of designing the characters and the armor and things like that. I don't want to talk about it or show too much at this stage, because I want to keep the focus on the Tyrannosaur series right now.
Right.
But after Tyrannosaur series, I think you'll start seeing me show more about it and talk more about it. And I mean, I'm really excited to get to it, but I do have all these prototypes to finish for the Tyrannosaur series first, and and so
Understandable.
I can't get too distracted just yet. But once those are squared away, yeah, I'm gonna dive right in. there's there's going to be dinosaurs and dragons and armored uh, dinosaurs, and there's a sci-fi element to it, and these aren't sci-fi dragons either. They're not like I mean, they're not fantasy dragons. They're basically natural history dragons is the best way I can describe it. I want to do something a little different with the concept. I want them to feel like real animals when I do them, and like basically design them in a way that makes you question whether or not that's a real animal. But it
That's
still looks like a
awesome.
dragon. So that's
Like your models.
That's the approach to that. Yeah, well, actually, the two dragons that I sculpted for my model kits are part of Cyberzoic. The Arctic dragon
Yes.
is one of the main dragons, and it'll probably be the first dragon figure that I put out. And the other dragon, the Dragon versus Raptors dragon, is also part of it as well, which I at this time call the Lizard Dragon. I don't know if that's going to be the final name for it, but at this stage it's just the Lizard Dragon. But those are two examples, and now they're both very rooted in natural history and what we know of evolution and things like that. So that's the direction that I want to go in.
Now, would that Arctic dragon come with the narwhal that came with the model of the Ark? That was just awesome. Like, that touch was just like, wow. I could see this thing pulling the narwhal off an iceberg.
No, I think for cost purposes, I probably won't include the narwhal, but there's a chance I might do a narwhal figure separately at some point. I mean, sky's the limit. So
very nice.
So you never know. I mean, I'm interested in all of it. I could just have a big dartboard full of animals and just throw darts at it and say, hey, I'll do that one. So because it's such an open market for this sort of thing, and nobody's really exploring this for action figures, it almost leaves this big empty area where I could just kind of pick anything and put it out there at this point. Obviously, I want to stick to some of the things that people really want to see first. I always want to include more popular things, but one of the things that has really helped with the Beast of the Mesozoic line is the inclusion of the unknowns, the species that people don't really pay attention to or didn't know about, and then they discover it through my toy line. That, oh, cool, that's a cool one. I didn't know about that one. That's a really neat one, and it gets their attention because it's colored a certain way. But then they learn more about the animal because I got their attention. And there's like for the ceratopsians. I mean, how many of those ceratopsians had you heard of before I put them out there? I mean, there's a lot of them that I did that I didn't even know about until I started working on it. And same with the raptors, same with the tyrannosaurs. It's just like there's all these really interesting animals that we can learn about outside of what we already have in pop culture. And I think that's a really cool balance to strike between what's known and what's unknown. And I'm going to continue to do that with Cyberzoic as well.
Wow. I just got goosebumps talking about all the Cyberzoic.
Right. We definitely look forward to that. I see people are loving the narwhal as soon as it's mentioned. I see the comments about narwhals.
Oh, yeah.
And then I do have a question from YouTube. Somebody put, do you have regrets about not choosing or making a figure in the Mesozoic line?
Do I have regrets about not making a figure for the Mesozoic?
Yeah, is there somebody you could? Yeah, is there somebody you didn't make a species or whatnot you haven't made that you had the regret that you wish you did?
Oh no. I mean, I can just make that. So that's the beauty of working on my own stuff. I can just make whatever I want to. I could announce something tomorrow and say, hey, I'm doing a I don't know, a Diplodocus, and all of a sudden my brain shifts into the mode of making a Diplodocus, and there's nobody that can tell me not to. So
I'm going to hold you to that.
Not that I'm planning to do that. I'm not actually planning to do that yet, but I'm saying that if that's what I wanted to do, I would just, okay, yeah, let's do that. I mean, that's kind of how the dragon thing happened. I was looking at my Arctic dragon one day, and like, this would make a cool action figure, and why not? So no one's gonna tell me no.
Right.
So
That's got to
we
be
just
such a
gotta
good
figure out.
feeling.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be possible without something like Kickstarter, and social media is very useful as well for growing an audience. I mean, there's a lot of tools that are available now that weren't available 10 or 15 years ago, and like, this would have been impossible 10 years ago when I started Creative Beast Studio. I was very much tied to the jobs that I was doing, and I was fine with that. It wasn't a problem. It's just, if I did get that itch to make my own toy line 10 years ago, it would have been very, very difficult to find a way to do that. But now we have Kickstarter, and we have all the social media, and it makes it much more accessible to creative people to get their work out there in whatever form or shape that may take. So yeah, I mean, it's a really good feeling knowing that I got into this at a time when it was possible to do. so it lined up pretty well.
We're very happy you did too.
Absolutely. And I do want to be respectful of your time. I just want to remind everybody, head over to pastramination.com. You'll see there's an article up about Creative Beast Studio and their Beast of the Mesozoic lineup, as well as the Kickstarter link in there. You can go there, or you can also go to creative-beast.com. And right now, there are action figures already up there from the Triceratops series. And you can catch different news and photos right there. So make sure you go check them out. But someone's going to be able to check it out right now, because we're actually going to give away the glow-in-the-dark Beast of the Mesozoic figure. So let's go ahead and do it. I got everybody down. So first off, we're doing the dinosaur. Ready? We're doing the Zuniceratops from Creative Beast Studio, Glow in the Dark. You ready, everybody? Here we go. Bringing out the wheel. So let's see. I got everybody on there. Boom. Everybody's there.
Wow.
And there we go.
Blanco.
Anthony Blanco. Anthony Blanco has
Congratulations,
won the
Anthony.
dinosaur. And let's go ahead and give away the Pastrami Nation combo from Apollo Burger. Denton
Heath. Congratulations,
Denton Heath
Denton.
has won. Congratulations.
Right.
Congratulations to both of you. Make sure you reach out to us so we can get you your prizes. We'll get them shipped and all that fun stuff. David, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been so much fun learning about the Kickstarter, and we're all excited for the future. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks.
Thanks a lot, David. We appreciate it.
It's been fun.
All right, and everybody watching, thank you so much for tuning in. We really appreciate it. We will see you in 2 weeks for Pastrami Nation, the meat of pop culture. Take care.